PRX.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcast where I'm glad you're here. You're welcome to be here. I'm here to embrace you with open arms, to call you in, every friend of mine from around the world. Sleepless or stressed out, whatever it is, I'm really, really glad you're here. I'm so happy because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Hey, everybody, Scoots here. This episode is for our Summer Favorites series. I asked patrons some of their favorite episodes that have not been put out in not just a few years, but a long time. And this is one that consistently came up and has consistently come up over the years. I think because it has me talking about my first girlfriend and Kmart and a bunch of other fun stuff. So enjoy. We're going to keep these coming out all summer. We got fresh content coming out, and we're doing a lot of interesting stuff over on our Patreon, but this is just one of those ones that just keeps coming up. It's about buying earrings at Kmart. So enjoy. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, Scoots here. And this message is about our Patreon and supporting the show directly, but I got a lot of feedback over the past 2 months from a bunch of different listeners, and I really appreciate it. Like, a lot of it was people who cannot support the show. They're not in a position to support the show. Some of them was people that just are like, yeah, I'll never support the show, or if you do more and more to convince me to support the show. And that is huge. Like, I hope there's no snark in my voice, because it really helps me focus on, hey, there's some people whose minds I can't change. There's people who can't support the show directly. And I just have to get this message out. You know, if you can afford to support the show and you're hearing this message and it's a little bit of like resistance, but you want to support the show, please support the podcast. I can only get the people who know they get value out of the podcast and are in a position to support the show, but are kind of caught in whatever inaction or putting it off. Please don't put it off any longer. Your inaction is voting on the future of the podcast, and the votes came in. The people that did take the time to get action, that was huge. I need a percentage of you to think about if you value the podcast enough to support it directly and pay for a free podcast because you get so much value out of it. And you could do it for the bonus content or whatever, but I got to get this message through to you because I've gotten the message from the people who can't support the show or who don't want to. I don't think those groups can be moved, right? If you can't support the show, you can't support the show. And if you don't want to support the show, that is valid. I've said that over the years too. That's a valid place to be. But if you're somewhere in the middle and you're hearing this and you say, hey, I could, stop this little streaming service, or I do have extra $5 or $10 or $20 to support the podcast because I do get so much value out of it. Don't wait to support the show. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. We could use your support. So let me know. You get value out of the show and you can support the show. You financially can sign up sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. Get over to helixsleep.com/sleep and take the 2-minute quiz to get matched with a mattress. Now, I do have a bit of mattress FOMO. I have the Helix Dusk Luxe, but Helix has a new high-end collection called Helix Elite, and Helix has harnessed their years of extensive mattress expertise to bring their customers an elevated sleep experience. The Helix Elite collection includes 6 different mattress models, each tailored for specific sleep positions and firmness preferences. And that sounds amazing, but I don't know, think about the bed you're in right now. You probably should have FOMO for the bed I'm sleeping in. I took the 2-minute quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep. I got matched with the Helix Dusk, and I picked the Dusk Luxe because I sleep on my side, I sleep on my stomach, I want to sleep cool. And that mattress fits my needs, right? And Helix is an amazing company to work with. Helix supports military, first responders, teachers, and students by giving them a special discount on site. You take that quiz, you find out what's going to be the best mattress for you. Don't got to go to a store, lie on a bunch of mattresses while somebody's watching you, asking you a bunch of questions. And with Helix, you could order the mattress online. You get easy, no-contact delivery. But you already know by taking that Helix quiz, the mattress is going to fit you and your needs, or you and your partner's needs. Take that quiz together. And that way you find find the perfect mattress for you. And if you don't want to take my word for it, Helix has over 12,000 five-star reviews. But by supporting Helix, you're supporting me and the show as well, and your good night's sleep. So go get a Helix and thank me later for your best night's sleep. And get this, Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for Sleep With Me listeners. So go to helixsleep.com/sleep. That's helixsleep.com/sleep. This is their best offer yet. It won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for the Deep Dark United Supporter Zone, and I'd love to celebrate you on the Supporter Zone, particularly if you're in Canada and you support Polysleep. If you get your Helix mattress from helixsleep.com/sleep, you sign up for ZocDoc, Progressive Insurance, Air Doctor, AquaTrue. If you support a sponsor, please let them know about it and let me know about it so I can say thanks for everybody who benefits from your support. Looking to support people here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, so let me know about it. All right, everybody, so that's the Sleepy Supporter Zone, Deep Dark United, Deep Dark Night United. The reason I get so excited is because that enables us to keep the show free for everybody. And over the past few months, I've heard about a lot of people who aren't in a position to support the show and benefit from it directly. Also, if you're having a tough time right now, there's links to resources you can connect with in the show notes. It's also about being a part of positive change, taking action, learning more, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but doing things. And I'd love for you to join us in the Orlando Park Stop fundraiser for Stop Hate, supporting the Trevor Project all throughout June. Please join in. I'm going to have some special rewards, so if you do support it, let me know about it. Use the link or go to orlandoparkstop.com/charity, or just Google Orlando Park Stop Stop Hate fundraiser and join in. Be a part of positive change. Be a part of community. Take positive action and help us support Orlando Park Stop's fundraiser to support the Trevor Project. I think that's it for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Mr. Bard, a lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Hannah like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, you can always get your sleep phones at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. Use Sleep With Me for $5 off your order. And that's it. Let's get on with the show. All right. Hey, you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that's here to put you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. I'm going to try to create a safe place where you can set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, travel, noises, like whatever's going on that's keeping you awake. Whether it's something you can, point your finger at and say, well, if it wasn't for that, giant dachshund or whatever slobbering on my face, I may be able to get to sleep, or, the spreadsheet or whatever. Like, I'd like to take your mind off of whatever it is, or at least attempt to. And that's kind of part of my safe place, is that I guess it's an intention. I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to be wearing meanderwear, which, by the way, don't buy your meanderwear except directly from me whenever I get around to making it and marketing it, other than here. Also, I thought about this. I probably shouldn't make meanderwear for the pod, because then everybody would have a sleep pod. They'd say, wow, suddenly I have the powers of meander that only Scooter has. I mean, I guess that would be nice. I'd have to sign, I guess every pair of meanderwear will come with an NDA and an exclusivity agreement, non-compete clause. I want them to have both copper and magnets. I saw that. I was watching TV, marathons while I've been editing the shows. And I saw the one for one of the things you strap onto your elbows or your knees or whatever that has copper in it. And I guess I don't normally delve into celebrity discussions on here. That's why you listen to Who Weekly. That's the show with Lindsay and Bobby. But this is a different, I noticed, I won't even say their name, but a famous football player was loading bales of hay. And he looked very fit. I mean, very fit. But I said, and I guess this is just my worldview. I said, is he really loading bales of hay, in his spare time? I would be sipping lemonade and doing, I guess that's why I'm not one of the many reasons I'm not an NFL quarterback starting. There's a lot of other ones too. Never mind. I don't want to get into it, but when I do come out with meanderwear, I guess I do picture it I guess it wouldn't be, I guess that doesn't make sense because that wouldn't be meanderwear. That's an elbow thing. So maybe I got to go, back to the drawing board with the meanderwear. But there will be meanders in this podcast. I just meandered into, that was a product placement meander. Fake and, faux inventions. We got a lot of faux stuff here. The FAUX gets used a lot on this show. Improperly, but that's also, that's just a check to see if you're kind of listening. But the whole thing with the meandering, or I guess back to the drawing board. That's kind of how. Let's see if I could. Let me set the stage, and then I'll try to get back to the drawing board. Let me go back to the drawing board. So if you're new here, here's how the basics. What is this called? Structure of the podcast. First 5 minutes, we get all the business out of the way, ideally, and then let's see. That's the first. Then there's usually a 12-minute intro, which we're about halfway through. If I check my time. A little bit under halfway through. It's like a show within itself, something familiar, something borrowed. Somebody, sometimes I'm feeling blue. Not tonight. It's about 6:40 p.m. having a work night. Actually, I am feeling blue because I was supposed to be right now watching Rogue One for the second time. Yeah, this isn't a criticism, but it was just, I guess I didn't feel well, this is okay. So let me come back. Let's see if I can come back to both those things. But so then there'll be an episode after this. So the intro is kind of an episode, a decent amount of people fall asleep to the intro or it eases them into the podcast. And then there'll be a story or story-like thing after this for 45, 50 minutes. And if you're new here, here's the key takeaways. You don't got to take me seriously. You don't have to listen, but you're also under no pressure to fall asleep fast or, oh boy, you should fall asleep by this part because I'm really I'm doubled up on meanderwear. I got 2 pairs on, clean pair on the inside and a pair that needs to be washed on the outside. That's how I do it. I double the usable life of the meanderwear, I think, or I'm just double powered. So if you're new here, so let's see. So and I guess I'm not feeling blue because I said, well, geez, now I can record a whole podcast episode tonight. And then maybe I'll watch a little Spalding Gray later because I was halfway through that. Then I'll watch some Star Trek. So I guess I'm not, but I guess the thing with the movie plans was that we'd planned it out way ahead of time, my brother and I. And I never followed up. I mean, we're talking like we planned this, because, Rogue One to some of us, Star Wars is a pretty big deal. I think a lot of listeners, it's true. And for both of us, this was going to be our second or third viewing, and it was going to be free because he's in a visual effects society. But then there was miscommunication and anyway. So, but I guess I needed to set an alarm. But these are the kind of things right now, I'm back in the climbing closet where I record the podcast, so it's not a big deal. But later on when you crawl into bed, you could be like, man, why didn't, everything gets quiet. You've done your, sometimes, there's all these sleep things you could try. I mean, I do have, certain things I do, but before bed. But, I was trying to think of something funny to say, but it's just extremely boring. There's nothing, but it's so, but then you get in bed and it's like, well, why didn't you email it? And you say, well, I don't want to rehash today's events. I'd like to go to bed. And sometimes, at least for me, sometimes it's my mind, sometimes it's my body. Lately, it's just my body is refused to go to sleep like a petulant child. And as the hours tick by or whatever, it becomes really hard to say, well, let's just go back to the drawing board here. Really, things get weird at night or during the day if you're a shift worker. And your bed, even the physical makeup of my body in my bed seems to change. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. And time, I mean, this is space-time continuum level stuff. And I know you're with me. I know I can hear you. And you say, what the heck? I just want to, usually if my pillows are like this, and then I switch these pillows to be cooler, and then I can, it's like a pillow buffet. And it's just not working. And so there isn't an ability for me a lot of times to hit reset and say, go back to the drawing board. Let's go, we'll rearrange our pillows, and that'll be it. We'll go right to sleep. The intensity seems to climb, I guess is what I'm saying. And I mean, sometimes the best thing is to just get out of bed. I don't know what my point was. I mean, my point is that ideally this podcast kind of intervenes and gives you something to kind of pay your attention. You don't have to pay me any attention. Don't pay me any mind either, as grandmothers everywhere say. Also, don't pay me any bother. Pay me no... What is that? Something to pay me no somethings, all those things. A halfpenny will do. But if you haven't got a halfpenny, well, God bless you. I think that's a couple months late. What was my point? I mean, my point is I've got 2 pairs of meanderwear on to try to help you fall asleep. I'm here. I mean, I guess I did contemplate buying a ticket to Rogue One, but I said I'll see it again. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Well, listen, I guess my thing is if you heard anything I'm saying, if you're asleep, terrific. If you're listening or you're lying there drifting, I've been there clearly. I've got, I can find, I make this sleep podcast. I mean, I read so many things about sleep, and I can still be there sometimes in the deep, dark night. And so the whole idea of this show is to take your mind off of it, or if not, give you a little company, to give you a little bore giggles, or, not a huckle. I don't even know what a huckle is. And I guess it's it's the plant that holds the huckleberry. Uncle Huckle. That's a nice, that is a word I don't know if I've ever used it's huckle. I don't know. I guess, anyway. So if this podcast is meant to just kind of distract you, but not to put any pressure on you, I'm here to be your bore friend, which just means I'll be here talking for the next 50 minutes. I'll be here present. I'll be giving it my all. I think I have a loose plan tonight to read, to put a map to use that I was given as a holiday present. So, and if you're skeptical, if you're new here, I totally understand it. This podcast is different. And, it is abnormal. But I guess just say that with open arms and say, Jesus, I'm here to help. So if you're new and you don't like it, give it a few tries or say, geez, I'm sorry I used up your time thus far, but I'm really glad you're here. And in some sense, you should be saluted because it takes a lot of skepticism to overcome to just listen to this podcast. But I can tell you want some help falling asleep, so I hope I can provide it. That's really what I yearn and strive for. And I'm glad you stopped by. I really want to help you fall asleep. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive, home of the Name Your Price tool. You say how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you the coverage options to fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote. Visit Progressive.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc. And we all know when someone is exceptionally good at what they do, it could be a waiter, a chef, a doctor, you're in good hands. Like, when you see a juggler and they're on a unicycle and the unicycle's on top of a bunch of, beach balls or something, you say, man, those, what are those things called? Bowling pins? They're in good hands with that juggler. And when you find the right doctor, you could feel it. You feel heard and at ease. And on ZocDoc, finding the right doctor for you is seamless. The quality care you need is just a few taps away in the ZocDoc app. And I love hearing from listeners who have been trying out the free ZocDoc app because ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them and treat almost every condition under the sun. Because when you're not feeling your best and you're just trying to hold it together, finding great care shouldn't take up all your energy, making calls, doing research, waiting around, and then finding out they don't take your insurance or they're not available. No. That's where ZocDoc comes in. Using the free app that millions of users rely on, you could find the right doctor that meets your needs and fits your schedule. And you can book an appointment in just a few taps and start feeling better, faster with ZocDoc. And here's how easy it is. Go to ZocDoc.com/sleep and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody. It's Trending Tuesday, and it's actually Tuesday. Holy moly. I didn't even think of that. Like, normally Tuesdays I don't record podcast episodes because I have family commitments. But it's Tuesday night, and it's somewhere between late 6 or early 7 p.m., half 7, quarter 6, whatever you all say. And this holiday season, a couple months back, I had gotten a co-gift, a shared gift with my brother Ken, which is interesting because I was talking about him in the intro. I apologize. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, Ken. My whole thing was like, why didn't I check in with him sooner about the movie? I'm not upset at all about, this is not a passive aggressive exercise or anything. Because I couldn't have got a better person, look at this, right into buttering it up. And speaking of butter, speaking of buttering and buttering people up. So Ken was a great person to get a shared holiday gift with for my parents. And they sent us something called a Syracuse crate, Crate. And the company happens to be run by somebody I went to high school and college with, Tom. And I don't know if I'll reach out to him in between, but Syracuse, a Syracuse crate. I think it's at SyracuseCrate.com, but I'll try to put it in the show notes. Tom's a great guy. So what's up, Tom? But my parents had got this Syracuse crate for my brother and I to share for Christmas. What is a Syracuse crate? I can hear you asking already. And ideally, we'll do a real-time recipe episode around the Syracuse crate, down the road here. But a Syracuse crate is like a gift. It's like a gift crate with regional foods from if you grew up in Syracuse or you lived in Syracuse that you would you say, geez, you really can't get it anywhere else. You know, a little central New York regional pride. And in our Syracuse crate, which I've consumed almost everything, I'm saving one thing for my daughter, came some Hoffman hot dogs, which I talked about on the show before, and then some Hoffman Snappies, which are like Coney Island dogs, which I don't know what they are, and I probably have this discussion every 2 years. I don't, but but anyway, it's not important. And then Gianelli hot Italian sausage and Hinderwaddle's salt potatoes. And so Syracuse has really good Italian sausage. And when you live in Syracuse, at least in my family, like the summertime, like you eat a lot of Hoffman hot dogs and you eat a lot of Italian sausage from Gianelli's or Staggerwald's. I just want to put that out there. Staggerwald's has got some great meat too. There's also a can of Mama's baked beans, and then a bottle of dinosaur barbecue sauce, turkey joints, which still not even sure what those are. My mom loves those though. And there's also a map in there. And I guess I'll just tell you what salt potatoes are because I don't want, but briefly, salt potato is like a small potato. I don't know what kind, like one of those little round ones. I think out here you call them Yukon Golds, but I think this is a different potato type. But a small potato, and what you do is you boil the potatoes in like heavily salted water. Syracuse is the salt city. Playing real gritty in the old Salt City, I think they used to sing. And of course, I don't know the actual history of the salt potato. I think maybe I did an episode about it, but like you just boil the water in this really salted water. So the potatoes come out and they're cooked, but they're like, they're incredibly salty. And then you usually eat them with drawn butter. And with your Italian sausage and your hot dogs and beans. So, and also it came with Hoffman's, like a German style mustard, I think. And I thank my parents for that. But it also came with this like an old vintage style map of Syracuse. And at first I thought my brother was going to keep it. And they said, no, maybe you could do a podcast episode from the map. I said, well, okay, that's a great idea. So I think that's what we'll do. Let me turn on one more light in here and unroll the map. I'll pause it. Okay, I've had to engineer a solution here because the map is like incredibly detailed and like the writing and the pictures are really small. And to set the mood, I'm here in my climbing closet where I record the podcast, so it's not the lightest place in the world. And then I always try to be conscientious about paper noises and stuff. This episode, I guess it's a little late, but it'll probably contain some map noises. But this is a map, like a cartoon. Is that a right version? Not animated, like a hand-drawn, not a caricature of Syracuse, but and I don't know what year. I looked at it for trademarks and stuff. I couldn't see anything. But it's a big map of Syracuse, and I guess what I'll do is just kind of go through it here, and maybe it'll spur some stories or whatever. I'm going to start in the upper left corner, Beaver Lake Nature Center, so maybe we'll come back to that. That's I played. Oh, yeah, I got a good Beaver. Oh, boy. 34, there's 34 golf courses in Onondaga County. Yeah, the brewery industry helped make Syracuse famous. Baldwinsville. That's where near Beaver Lake. Baldwinsville is known as the pheasant dog capital of the world. I did not know that. We are proud of our state championship wrestlers. There's the First Trust and something company, some bank. Brown newspapers. I haven't heard of that. Something park, Mercer Park, maybe. People look like they're dancing there. It looks like there's a dam there. I don't know. Then the Baldwinsville Tri-County Mall. I don't remember that. Some sort of mid-lakes navigation. I don't know what lake. I guess this is Onondaga Lake. Yeah, Onondaga Lake. There's a Holiday Inn, Sparky's Holiday Inn. There's a sign for the WSEN. WSEN must have paid for this map because I see them on here a bunch. I don't know what station that was either. So did you grow up in Syracuse, Scoots? I did, but, I lived in a world of my own, fantasy and design. Onondaga Park goes around the lake. You see Hiawatha Point, Perry's Office Supplies, Hyde's Hot Dogs. That was a big part of my youth. That's in Baldwinsville, North Syracuse. The New York State Fair, Fairgrounds. The Keno Carnival ranked second to only New Orleans Mardi Gras. That's in Jordan. The Key New Carnival. I don't know that one. Again, I didn't claim to be a Syracuse historian. There's a Pepsi truck at the fair, so there's a little product place. And there's a guy who looks like Evel Knievel on a BMX bike. Fairmount Fair. That's also, I could use this for about 10 podcasts now that I'm looking. Fairmount Fair, we've done a few episodes from there. Mall walking. First mall walking episode took place there. Then we have Coleman's Restaurant, where I was a bus boy and a janitor for a short period of time. I think I did wash the dishes too, but mostly janitor and bus boy. Let's see. We see Carpenter's Brook, Weber's West Side Inn, Elbridge, the Chicago Market. Can't read a lot of the writing here. Even Fowler High School, so that's that's near where I grew up, and that's off of Geddes. Burnett Park Zoo. I'm assuming I see a bunch of animals. West Jenny High School. So this map is definitely not because I think West Jenny's closer to Fairmount Fair. Let's see what else we got. The Amtrak station, the railroad station, museum, and library. West Jenny High said that. The disappearing lake. I don't know about that either. Oldest barn in the country, I see on here. For another First and Trust. The Krebs, I think this is Skinny Atlas Lake. The Cedar House Restaurant and Gift Shop, Mid Lakes Navigation. Oh, so I think companies could pay to be on this map because there's even phone numbers for some of these. There's the Native American Reservation in Nedrow. The lake is approaching 15 miles long and 300 feet deep. That's Skinny Atlas Lake, I believe. Central Tech and Vocation Center. And then downtown, that's in downtown. Then we have the Syracuse Cablevision or something. Cable Systems. Hotel Syracuse, Paper Poppy, Sibley's. That's where we would go see Santa Claus. And they had a sky bridge between Sibley's and another place. Perry's Office Supply. Jean's Discount Craft Supplies. I wonder if the comic book shop's on here. There's the Money Towers. Those are the two big buildings in Syracuse, but they have a carrier label on them. Syracuse War Memorial. The Symphony and the Opera at the Civic Center. Another First Trust and Deposit Company. Building where my dad worked. I don't know. Syracuse Savings Bank was, I think, in the basement of the building. Will Bombers Candles. This is the candle capital of America, they say. And Will Bombers, and I do know people that were in the candle business, so one of my friends. You got something historic landmark restaurant, Sheridan Inn, Carpet Alley, 2002 Space Odyssey. That's at the Disco. Oh, here's a place. Let me see if I can read this. Something Red Barn. That rings a bell, like Herkimer Red Barn or Harper Red Barn or something. Flamingo Bowl. It has 40 lanes, open at 1 in the morning. Franklin Engine Company. Don't worry, I'm keeping track of the stuff that has good stories. Crystal, I don't see Industrial Color Labs on here. Frankie's Steakhouse and Pencan Mall. That was another mall that existed. Syracuse Boys Club and Syracuse China. They are a world leader in commercial Chinaware. I think for plates for restaurants. I think they used to say that they had that at the White House. Learberry Clothes, I remember that building. Factory Outlet Store, I think they had. MacArthur Stadium, that's where Syracuse's AAA baseball team used to play. DR Typewriters, Curry Copy Center, Hanover Square, another First Trust Bank. Onondaga County Public Library, they've been to those. The Cathedral, the Boys Club. I don't see the Landmark Theater, but that's probably on here somewhere. Another Chicago Market, another WSCN. The Heart of Syracuse Country. So maybe that's Syracuse's country station. Maybe that's why it doesn't ring a bell. Chicago Market, another Chicago Market. Song Mountain, that was a place with the Alpine Slide. Amends to make with that with my cousin. They ran into her thing, and let's see. So it's just a lot of people waving and walking. Oh wait, here we go. I see some information about this. Produced and published by something Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, 1979. Printed in the USA. Illustrated by Francesca Profili. Looks like it's produced and published by Archara Inc. or something. Let's see. WSEN and University Hospital. I think that's me. I don't know if I was born in the University Hospital or Krause Irving. I think I was born in Krause Irving. Syracuse University, where our buddy Hal went, and there's the Dome, Hall of Languages, Clark Reservation Conservation Area. I don't think I've been there. If I have, I don't remember. Down to the Holiday Inn, downtown, another Pepsi truck, Lorenzo with a swan. I don't know what that is. Highland Forest, that was the first time I went camping. I went there. Pencam Mall, I mentioned that. Syracuse Airport, Hancock Airport. What else do we got here? Shub Meals. I don't know what that is. Central City Business Institute, WTVH-5. The first TV station in Central New York. The Art Cellar. Janitor Service Inc., the Pat Bombard Buick and Opel. Linder Publications, Syracuse Magazine, Syracuse Stage. I think my brother performed there. Then you have DeWitt and Casanova, the Reservoir, Syracuse University Bookstore, Mulligan's and First Trust United and WTVH-5. WTVH-5, though, that's been in a podcast. That was the first time I appeared in front of an audience. I told the sheep belt joke to the guy, the weatherman or something. Fayetteville, have a terrific day. Maps Unlimited, Old Limestone. I don't know what that is either. It says here Grover Cleveland, the 22nd and 24th president of the United States, grew up in Syracuse. I didn't know that either. If I did, I forgot it. Yeah, some other lakes, round lake. I don't know if those are the green lakes. Chittenango Falls. We used to go there. That's where Chittenango's where the L. Frank bombs from, I believe. Chrysler Process and Gear. That's also says it's the four-wheel drive capital of the world, which makes sense. A sign for Vernon Downs. The original something restaurant, where the water flows north, Marriott Inn, Oneida Lake. So we've talked about Oneida Lake on the show. Yeah, that's about it. So let me take a look at this map and see what we can chat about on here, that we haven't overdone. I mean, we've talked about Hyde's Hot Dogs. We could talk about that because that connects to... So maybe we'll talk about that second. But I got a pretty decent, what's that thing called? Beaver Lake Nature Center story. So we'll do that, and then we'll see what we have time for. So a couple different things about Beaver Lake Nature Center. Now, Beaver Lake Nature Center, I guess it's near Baldwinsville. I always imagine it on the way to the airport, but maybe, I don't know if it's before or after the Syracuse airport, and it's definitely on my list of things to do. I'd love, maybe I'll be able to record a podcast there at some point in the next year or two and get permission, to do that. But, so this is what I remember about it. I honestly haven't been there in probably 30 years, 25 years, maybe. And I don't know if Beaver Lake Nature Center was new or redone when I was in like 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. But my memory of Beaver Lake is that it's it's in a kind of a swampy area, a natural swamp, wetlands type area. And it has one of those boardwalks, so you can walk out and go like deep into the swamp or the wetlands. And, be out in nature, walking, enjoying the sounds and the trees and the wildlife. And so that's one thing I remember about it. I remember going there a few times with my family. And then I guess no wonder I barely remember it, because I can't imagine my poor parents taking 6 kids. And I don't know if any of us ever jumped off of the boardwalk into the swamp or, pushed one another. But I do remember going there, I think I guess I'm not sure if it was 5th or 6th grade, but this will get right into awkward, growing up awkward territory. My biggest memory of Beaver Lake is that when I was there, it was one of the, I guess it was my first girlfriend, and we were only dating for about 2 weeks, and I don't even think we held hands. It was a very formalized thing, and it was due to one of my friends and not due to anything I did. But I remember I bought my girlfriend a pencil sharpener made of wood at the Beaver Lake Nature Center gift shop, and I had struggled over it because I wanted her to like it, because I wanted her to like me. And you might say, okay, Scoots, back it up. How you have a girl, you had a girlfriend once? And I say, yeah, once for a very short time. I did. And I don't want to say her name, but there was two, and let's see, how do I do this delicately as well? I've talked about some grammar school stuff or elementary school stuff on the show before, or grade K through 6, depending on where in the world you're listening to this, or primary school. I think all those apply. And, I've had a lot of things I don't know. I don't have low I guess maybe this isn't about my self-esteem, but I definitely was not, even in grammar school, what the opposite sex was looking for in a mate, even pre-mate, this is whatever, a decade before you'd be thinking about mating. So this is only practicing the social rituals. And now thinking about how, I don't know. So, I never had trouble making friends, but I had trouble connecting, like the whole idea, I guess, of confidence and self-awareness, those things. Like, I guess I never had trouble. I always had friends. And there was this time, at our school, where there was two sets of twin girls at our school, and I was in love with one set of twins, particularly one of the two twins, and that was like so far out of my league. Like these twins came to our school new, I think, in fifth grade, and they were stars. Everybody had a crush on them. And as I said, I had a lot of friends. So two of my friends were their boyfriends. I believe I can say their names, Pat and Kyle. And whatever, I don't even know what you do with it then. You just say that that's your boyfriend and your girlfriend. It was just like a formality. I mean, in some sense, establishing the pecking order. And that was just something, that made me gave me butterflies in my stomach. I said, oh, wow, and probably gave me like what do you call that? Not visceral, but, probably wasn't entirely healthy mechanism of saying, oh, one day if I change, she would like me or whatever. But not a terribly painful memory or anything. Just like, okay, like she was out of my league. I was like the second smallest kid in our class. And I just I was the oldest. Like I didn't have any male figure like my age or within my age range to say, hey, this is, don't pick your nose and eat it. Don't do that or whatever I would do. I don't know. I don't think I did that, by the way. I mean, I did, but I don't think I did it at that age and got caught. That's what I'm saying. I think I had to, anyway, this is disgusting. But so, let's see. So, but then there was also another new kid that came to our school. Another amends I probably have to make. Another person that worked their way into the story. This kid who moved in my neighborhood, and we quickly became good friends. And I think our paper routes overlapped, and I think I ended up not being the best friend in the end, but his name was Bo, B-O, I think. I think he had a real name, but I can't remember, I can't think of, but anyway, his name was Bo, B-O, was his nickname, like, what do you like to be called? And he was incredibly, he was a new kid. I think he was, he was into MacGyver, I remember. And he was also, I think, confident and comfortable in his own skin, and he could connect with these classmates of ours that we were attracted to. And so he never had a hard time with it. And so at some point, I don't know if one of these two other twins had a crush on him, and he was nice enough to do best friend duty. I guess he was my best friend at the time. He arranged it so that if he was going to be this one girl's boyfriend, her sister would be my girlfriend. So an arranged fifth grade relationship. And because these relationships didn't involve doing anything except saying formal titles and calling each other on the phone, because I don't even think you could I don't think we even went on dates at this age. Maybe, no, I don't even think till middle school there was maybe, I don't know, maybe there was I don't know. I don't think people went on dates at this age. Even, I mean, obviously be super supervised. And maybe you kissed on the lips. I don't know, because none of this happened to me. So this is all based on what I was imagining. But so Bo had arranged it so that I would be this one young lady's boyfriend. And we talked on the phone, and I mean, I think part of me knew that this was not, because she was I don't know, this is because not based on attraction, but, she didn't have a crush on me. And I kind of didn't have it. I was obviously, swept away with these other twins, though I also knew that even these twins were kind of a little bit step above me as far as the dating pecking order. So I was playing above my whatever. I was wasn't like I was like, geez, I felt lucky to have a girlfriend that was very attractive or whatever. So, but I don't, all I remember is talking on the phone. And then I remember like this gift, but I think this was the second gift we got for them, or I got for her. And it would be the last, spoiler alert. Because I remember, and I don't know if Bo was trying to be my big brother and like teach me these things, but Bo and I, since we had paper routes, we had a little bit of extra spending money. And he was one of the people, I guess we were probably in sixth grade because we were old enough to go to the movie theater and Kmart together. And normally what we would do is we'd go to Kmart and then like buy candy if we were, plush with money. And then we would go to the movie theater and during the summer, I guess this would be the summer between fifth and sixth grade. And so let's see, like where are we? So, but at one point we went to Kmart and we were going to buy the girls earrings, our girlfriends. And I think Bo was in charge of this whole operation. And I think he was trying, like, I remember, like, I can feel the physical feelings. It felt really exciting and good to be buying a gift for my girlfriend at Kmart. And I guess this was the age, I guess their ears were pierced, the girls' ears. And I guess it was also interesting is the girl, her mother would later be my teacher. And she was a very good teacher, but she also had to throw me out of class a few times. Just as I don't know if that's irony, but wonderful people, wonderful people. So Bo and I were at Kmart, and like I can. This is one of these memories that is vividly burned into my mind. It's so interesting. Even the somatic feelings. I remember being there at Kmart. And this was a Kmart we frequented me and Bo, but also me and my, it was a Kmart near our house. And even, I think we didn't go to the Kmart restaurant very often, but I can remember eating there like once or twice. So, this was when Kmart's had like a diner right in the middle of them, which now that would be the coolest thing ever. Like, I went through this streak of trying to eat at Kmart's, like, probably, I guess it was the late 90s. And I would get a patty melt, and I was like, or grilled cheese with tomato soup, and man, that was the living. And I guess not in the wasn't like I was trying to be ironic. It was just like, it just felt so, not rebellious is the wrong word, but just, it's like, all right, I'm eating at a diner in the middle of a Kmart. And for the most part, most of the time it's good food. It was a good diner food. And this Kmart had like a sit down, I can picture I can hear the clang of the coffee cups and the plates and stuff. But so Bo and I went on this operation into Kmart to buy our girlfriend's earrings. Now, I think Bo was, he was obviously much wiser than me and knew what he was doing. And I think he was spurring this whole operation on, but it seemed like in an older brother style way. And unfortunately, if you listen to this podcast regularly, Bo and I's friendship ended up deteriorating because, let's see, how do I explain this? I had acquired adult materials later on in our friendship from my neighbor, one of the Billy, who was like an unofficial member of the Baby Kids. And then I brought those to the one time I got to go to summer camp. I brought all those adult materials to summer camp and I put them like in my bunk. And then I don't think kids paid me. I think that would be the movie version, but like kids would get to lie in my bunk and look at these pictures. And then Bo had told his mom on me, and I could never forgive that, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I was a petty person. And like I said, I have amends to make because I think I egged his house because, Billy was very upset with me. And Billy has since passed. So Billy, I'm sorry too. But, and I guess also because the more I tell the story, I realize what a great, also Bo's house was the one, if you're really into this podcast, like one night, the one time I ate grape nut cereal, I was sleeping over at his house. And that was one of my big life disappointments. I had dreamed of eating grape nut cereal because I just had fantasized that it would be this delicious cereal, like whatever just sounded good, grape nuts, and I could never have it. And then I had noticed Bo's family had grape nuts. So then at the sleepover, I snuck downstairs and fixed myself some grape nuts. And not just like a little bit, like a heaping gigantic bowl of grape nuts. And I took one bite and I was like, this is the most disgusting cereal I've ever had. And then right like after I did that, his mom or his dad came in and they said, what the heck do you think you're doing? And they said, well, I'm eating an entire box of grape nuts, but I decided I'm not, And so anyway, so we went to Kmart. We were on a mission to buy earrings for our girlfriends. And Bo had spoken to his girlfriend because she had wanted these earrings that were also they were telephone earrings. They were pink or turquoise. I can picture them in my mind. I remember Bo was trying to decide. And they were like telephones, like where the receiver, the old fashioned phones you would have at your like grandma, not a cell phone, clearly. And I think they were like, they were they were fun phones because like maybe the receiver hung up or something. And so Bo was like there, and I think he was like, okay, I'll buy one color and you buy the other color or what. And I got it in my mind. I said, oh, no. And I started looking at this jewelry and I think fantasizing that this is a common fantasy. I think that like, oh, this is going to be the gift that's going to woo. And also, as you know, listening to this podcast, I watched so much TV as a child and movies, and that really formulated how I viewed what I thought was the real world. And this was the 80s, so like spangly, sparkly stuff was in, and I remember I saw these earrings, and they were dangly. They look like sparkles and they would do sparkle. I don't know any of the terminology, but they were like 3 lines. Each one was a little bit shorter and they were like little squares, like attached to catch the light. And I think they were silver. And to me, these earrings looked like they could have been, they were like $1 million earrings. And I don't know what the prices were. I mean, I know it was cheap, Kmart, like jewelry and not in a case, you didn't have to go to the case or where we were looking. I mean, Bo was buying phone earrings. I was kind of picturing them on her and saying, oh man, this is it, man. This is where, Love City and Namadan, And I don't know, it was just thrilling, I guess, to be it just felt so, I don't know, no, it didn't feel adult. There was like an illicit thrill, and we bought them. We didn't shoplift. I was terrified of the consequences of shoplifting. I'd never do that, just because I was afraid, I overthink things. So we bought and Bo bought his. And then I remember I don't know if we wrapped the gifts or we wrote love notes or what we did. I don't remember any of that, but I do remember that it was like, and this is as tropey as it gets. I remember I just gave them to her and her look, my girlfriend at the time. So this is probably day 3 of our dating. And I'm not joking. This was a 2-week operation, but I can remember giving him to her and her just kind of looking at me. And then I was like, what are you going to put, and waiting the next day at school. And, the earrings were never seen or heard from again. I don't believe. Maybe it's not true because I can see the earring. I guess Bo was charming. So his girlfriend, she did wear his earrings. And maybe this is around a dance, but I think the dance, that was when I won the dance contest. I think this was the year after, maybe. When did I talk about that dance contest? That was a long time ago. That was another thing that happened to me in grammar school. I won a dance contest. I think that was in Boys Tap. That's a pretty good episode too. So the earrings did not go over, like I thought they would. And I mean, I guess looking back at it, I don't think I asked. I said, geez, would you want phone earrings? Or maybe she even said, give me phone earrings like my sister. And I probably asked these questions, I was consumed with, I guess like it's the difference between being empowered and powerless. I was a person that was easily given to powerlessness. So I would just say, oh, are you going to wear those earrings tomorrow? I can't imagine what our phone calls would have been like. I mean, I'd definitely give him billions of dollars to just like, now maybe watching it would be too depressing. It would be really interesting, man. They talk about once anthropologists can time travel, or it'd be like, I wouldn't even need to make the board. I'd just bring you and show you my life. Here I am sitting, watching Growing Pains and formulating, how I'm going to be like, and here I am watching Silver Spoons and formulating how I'm going to be one day Ricky Schroeder, here I am watching Who's the Boss and wondering when I'm going to meet her, here I am watching, that was Golden Girls. I watched a lot of Golden Girls. Perfect Stranger, all these shows, these were 80s TV shows, by the way. All right, here I am. So the earrings they weren't a hit. And I guess I wonder, I could see the price tag, but I can't see the price. I'm guessing I'm hoping, I know they were under $20 because I barely had any money. I'm hoping they were under $5, but please tell me. Somebody get Kmart, I don't think they were Blue Light Special, but I don't know if they were electroplated or what, but, so the earrings weren't a big hit. So then I said to myself, well, geez, I got to step it up at this Beaver Lake Nature Center. And I guess maybe I did once, if this was week 2, I was definitely, I feel like imagining myself at the, looking back, that I was a little bit head over heels at this point. Maybe I was going to hold hands with her, or maybe we were even going to kiss. And, I don't know. I guess it's interesting that even as now as an adult, I think I have this default habit of striving for certainty. It's just interesting in looking back and seeing myself striving for some certainty there. I guess I feel very neutral about these memories. They might seem a little sad, but they're actually not. Because I can see myself geez, well, I had low self-esteem or whatever you want to call it, or I just didn't feel attractive. I guess would be that's what it was. Then I have confidence. I don't know if it's low self-esteem. It's just no confidence and no sense of attractiveness. And I think that's probably something a lot of people share. And I think I was looking to counteract those things, attain certainty that those weren't true, and luckily I had friends like Bo to kind of arrange those things. And then later when the dance contest, my friend Chris K, he was the one who, got me a date for the one dance we had at grammar school. And he arranged that one, I think, or maybe his date was the one who figured it out. But so I had a lot of pressure on myself to to save the relationship here at the Beaver Lake Nature Center. And this is still a habit I can get into, where I get really, in love with being in love. Maybe, I don't know if that's the right term, or the wooing stage and surprises and stuff. And so I think I was very heady, and I was let me get something nice, because I was thinking of her and I was out in nature. And I said, let me get this pencil sharpener. I wish I think it was like a birdhouse, or it was one of those things where you press the bottom and the bird moves. Maybe it wasn't a pencil sharpener, but I'm pretty sure it was, because, that would be utilitarian. And I know it was made out of wood and it was painted. And, so I purchased it and I was full thing. And then when I gave it to her, of course, you could see this coming. She said, no, I don't want to, I think she accepted I wonder, I guess I have to scan the memory banks, but so I had the pencil thing. This was presumably like a weekend, a Saturday or Sunday. So then Monday I gave her the pencil sharpener and she broke up with me, or maybe it was just I gave it to her. And I think this was one of those ones where it's like the person at the desk in front of me told me, or someone told me at lunch. I mean, there was our school wasn't 100% like a Mean Girls movie. Like I remember there was one girl, Julie, Kay, and she was always, trying to be helpful. And I think she was very good at, respecting people's feelings. And I think she's married to one of my brother's coworkers now. But so she would always go out of the way. So if my feelings were hurt, she was there as a friend to say, oh, it's not that big a deal or whatever. Cause that's probably crushed. I mean, and if it happened at lunch, all the boys sat together. So that would have been embarrassing. But I was lucky that I always had friends. I guess I feel like I wasn't always a friend to everyone. So I'm like, man, how lucky am I that I had friends to turn to? So even when people were making if I cried, which I probably did, I mean, let's be honest, this was my first relationship and I had, put a lot of money into it and thought and probably, a lot of imagination, and I had certainty riding on it. So when it came, whatever I can assume it was someone said it to me from, this is how I reimagine is that the person at the desk in front of me in grammar school said, oh, Mikey Blank isn't going to be your girlfriend anymore. And I say, okay, well, and I just in denial. Well, no, I don't believe you. You don't, and then it probably happened at lunch, the girls' lunch table told the boys' lunch table. And they became a little bit embarrassing. Then they became upset. And then someone soothed me. So I did have people to soothe me, friends or, so I was, again, very, very lucky. And, I'm trying to think, I guess I'm trying to rescue the story because but that is the good thing. And then, this might seem like a cheap way to do it, but the truth was that I still had this huge crush on this other person. So I was able to return to that fantasy, or maybe this is a coping strategy. I don't know, and I guess I don't want to know. I kid, but so was my point. So that it wasn't very long before I redirected my crush. I guess this will be interesting playing it out at this classmate. And while her and her sister were dating these two friends of mine, and I had no chance, in my heart, your heart always has a chance. And I do honestly think, I don't look at this from a mental health perspective, but from a coping with life perspective, crushes are, I view them as, for personally, they're a very important thing to me. And so it's part of the seasons of your life. Right now I'm between crushes and, but even in the real-time recipe episodes, I talk about, Jesus, it's nice to have a crush on someone that works at the grocery store you go to. Because it just makes it, it's just you're not going to really it just makes it better to go to the grocery store. Where if it's someone that cuts your hair or something, they say, well, boy, that's that could go, not, or school. I always had a lot of trouble at school. That's the genesis of this podcast is a lot of it is the trouble I had at school. But crushes were, I guess, a coping mechanism. Honestly, I wouldn't have made it through. I don't think I would have showed up to high school like my last 2 or 3 years of high school, if I didn't have a crush on someone to go, like, and I'm not kidding, my crushes made it like, said, well, maybe I'll run into them at the hall or whatever, or this will be like that fantasy, constructed fantasy that just was barely rooted in reality or a tangential reality, but loosely associated with reality. Made it say, well, I'll just go to school today. Otherwise I probably, yeah. And even in because then what happened was ours was the first year. So our sixth grade class was the first year there wasn't going to be any middle school. So they did because the schools, I went to Catholic school and the schools were shrinking and the money was tight. So then they had they were cutting back. And so then we went to a larger middle school. And then I found new crushes there. Oh boy, there was another set of twins, believe it or not. And then I had a crush on those twins. And I guess this is a pattern I repeat. Then they were out of my league, even though I had a crush on them. And then at some point, I think I even asked, and either one of my female friends was like, no, they were just honest with me. And then in 7th grade, I did have a crush on another classmate. And then even then I said, well, geez, maybe I just need a girlfriend. All my friends were getting girlfriends again. And then it's similar pattern. I had a friend and then I said, would you be my girlfriend? She said, no. No. We're just friends. But again, it's like that quest for, it's certainty and a certainty of good or certainty of bad. And I guess the lesson kind of I take from that is one, it's very nice to be able to go into these memories in a neutral place and to think about Kmart and the thrill of buying gifts and to look at things in this new appreciative light of seeing, Jesus, this friend of mine, that I kind of terminated our friendship because of him telling his mom. He was a really good friend and he was very brotherly to me, not just went in above and beyond. He arranged my first girlfriend. I don't know if you can call it a girl, for the story context, it's a girlfriend. I don't think a week and a half, even if you buy 2 gifts, qualifies. I think you need to hold hands or kiss, as willing parties. I mean, but for the purpose of the story, it was a girlfriend. And, looking at these other classmates that, would step up and say, hey, geez, I see your feelings were hurt, let me try to help. Those are undersold or easily forgotten about when we don't get a chance to return to these. So that was a nice thing. And then just to say, geez, it's I guess it is interesting. I mean, right now I'm now looking back at it in a sad way of saying, I don't know how you say this. It doesn't sound a little bit obscene, but it's I was an unattractive young man. And I think most of that was projected mental a view than an actual fact or something. I think especially these prepubescent ages, I don't know what an expert would say, but this is way more of this social hierarchy playing out and kind of playing out the roles that maybe you have in your family, but also these roles, that you're following, whatever modeling you're doing and trying to establish a strange social hierarchy. And then also based on physical attributes, who's taller, who's more mature. It's incredibly interesting. And it's tough being a kid. I guess there's another thing. I hug my daughter extra tight and be like, man. But you do make it through it. And I mean, as anything this podcast and life has taught me is that, there's a lot of interesting things in our difficult times, and they're not all bad, and then so I guess can they become lulling and soothing? I mean, I think if you make a trip to Kmart, you could pretty much Man, I guess that would be another thing to put on my time machine list is to hit up some Kmarts. I think most of them are closed now, but they're not the same as they were in the 80s anyway, and blue light specials and diners and all that stuff. In like Kmart branded stuff. I remember I was trying to think, I don't know what it was that I had. I was thinking this the other day. I had some stuff that was Kmart branded that was really awesome. I don't know if it was like clothes or that I bought at a vintage place or something I'm remembering. So yeah, so thank you for listening. And that's the story of my first girlfriend, Beaver Lake Nature Center, all based on a map of Syracuse. Thanks.